What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Team Builder for playoff quarterfinals in aABL Magma, taking on Zach and the Chicago Charizards again. We played him back in week 1, if you guys remember. He has not changed his team since then, but I've made some significant transactions that actually changed the matchup. Personally, I think in an unfavorable way, but let's talk about all of that in depth here. So first up, let's talk about Zach's team. Again, it hasn't changed, but just a refresher. He's got the Z Celesteela, Z Greninja, Whimsicott, Espeon, Seismitoad, Cryogonal, Dusknoir, Mega Manectric, Infernape, Hydreigon, Archeops, and Z Victory Bell. Unfortunately, he was kind of limited on the Z users, and I don't know if I said this week 1 or not, but I definitely don't think that Greninja should have been a Z user. I think it probably should have been Infernape. Along with Celesteela. Well, I don't really know if Celesteela needs Z all that much either. It maybe the Hydra, but he had a few Z options to play with there, and it's not lined up perfectly, so that kind of locks Infernape into like a Scarf roll and things of that nature. So that's kind of what I'm going to be playing around with there. In terms of what I don't... Oh, sorry. Rest of his team. Of course. Priority options, he's got Greninja with Shadow Sneak and Water Shuriken, and Infernape with Mach Punch and Vacuum Wave. Also, random things like Dusknoir with Shadow Sneak and Espeon with Quick Attack. I'm pretty sure Archeops gets Quick Attack as well. Cryogonal gets random Ice Shard, so... and as well as Prankster Shenanigans from the Whimsicott there, of course. Hazard setting, he's got the Greninja with Spikes and Toxic Spikes, Seismitoad with Rocks, Archeops with Rocks, and Infernape with Rocks. Removal options, Whimsicott with Defog, Cryogonal with Rapid Spin and Defog, Hydreigon with Defog, and Archeops with Defog. 4 times weaknesses, the Whimsicott 4 times weak to Poison, Seismitoad to Grass, and Hydreigon to Fairy. I should have most of those covered. I believe I'm not covering the Poison one, actually. And there's a reason for that, I think. Although it's beyond me at the moment. So I might change that in a second once we get over there. Okay, yeah, in terms of what I'm not expecting to come here, I don't really think Dusknoir makes that much sense. And it could be alright as a pressure staller against something like a Scarf Passimian, something along those lines. If he's really scared of Passimian, then he might bring Dusknoir, right? The stance that I'm sort of taking on this game is that because I beat him the first time, I don't have to change as much. Unfortunately, I adjusted the team so much that 2 of the members from my original team aren't even on my roster anymore, so I did have to adjust quite a bit, actually. But I feel like he still has to build around the Pokemon that I brought last time. So, Akaberry Ferrothorn with Thunderwave was a big problem for him, and it could have been a much larger problem for him. Celesteela was a huge problem against me, and I think that he's probably going to just bring like almost a very identical Celesteela set, so I've been working around that as the idea. Last time he didn't bring Water Absorb Seismitoad, he still has to bring Seismitoad, and he brought a completely useless ability on it in Poison Touch with no contact moves, so that's definitely coming. Seismitoad is his only Zardex check. He didn't change anything on the team, so it's, again, his only Zardex check on the entire roster, so that's easily abusable. Last time, I had triple water last time, and I was really shocked he didn't just bring Cryogonal, because I actually still don't have a single Freeze Dry Resist on the entire team. I actually have 0 Freeze Dry Resists on the entire team. So I would be really surprised if he doesn't bring Cryogonal this time and identifies that, maybe like Specs Cryo. It's literally impossible for me to switch into, so, I'm planning around him not bringing it, but he could bring it. He brought a Life Orb Infernape last time, I'm not sure about that. Maybe a Scarf variant makes a little bit more sense against me, I'm not sure. Espeon came last time. I don't really think Espeon shows up this time. It didn't even make that much sense to me last time, but his speed creeping was way, way, way off. He was speed creeping Mega Charizard with a lot of stuff instead of creeping the Keldeo that was on my roster. Luckily for him, I dropped that Keldeo, so he can speed creep Mega Charizard X now. I actually built a team with Keldeo on it, and then I had to look, and I was like, oh crap, Keldeo's not on my team anymore. I dropped it for Excadrill. So that was a wake-up call for sure. Whimsicott came last time. I'm not sold that Whimsicott comes again. I do have triple ground, but I still have a lot that threatens the Whimsicott. So I'm not sold on it. He brought more of an offensive variant with Tailwind last time. Still very viable against me. I don't really think that a team this fast even needs Tailwind support against me, but there you go. I guess I'm just running down the team here, aren't I? I can't remember. Did he bring Greninja against me last time? He did not bring Greninja against me last time. So, take that as you will. Not sure that Greninja will show up now. I don't know. I feel like Hydra makes a little bit more sense against me than Greninja. but Gren also is a nice way to punish all the ground types that I have. Both of them sort of in the same way, because obviously Hydra has Levitate, so I can't hit it with ground type attacks. And it outspeeds a lot of stuff. It's still a nice way. It's actually a better way to break through Slowking than Greninja is, and they can both kind of just pivot out on that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure. It's kind of a toss. I don't think he brings both, but it's kind of a toss-up in my mind on if he's going to bring Gren or Hydra. Archeops, he brought Archeops last time. It wasn't as effective as he thought it might be. I obviously don't have good answers to it still, but I have a better answer to it than I did last time in Hippo. Diggersby was my answer last time, to a sense, and Hippo just tanks head smashes pretty easily. So I can't imagine that he's going to bring Archeops again. I don't know. I feel like he would want to change it up. Now, this is kind of where we get into dicey stuff. I thought Mega Mane had an amazing matchup against me the first time. I don't think Mega Mane's got an amazing matchup against me this time. With Triple Ground, I think Mega Mane's pressured a lot more than it was last time when I had Triple Water, and it could capitalize on Triple Water plus Triple Grass with two grounds, I guess, at the time. But they were both offensive grounds. And now I have a defensive ground and one with speed control. So I am hesitant about the Mega Manectric here. It definitely looked a lot better against me last time. I'm not entirely sure what he's going to bring there. Victory Bell, again, it's got kind of a niche against me in that it can run like a Sunny Day set, and he could definitely try a Sun Strat against my Sand. I'm not sold on the Victory Bell coming either. It just doesn't seem to make all that much sense to me in prep. It could come, but it probably won't over all of the other things that I've just discussed. Celesteela walls some things, but I can break it with others. For example, it's his best Excadrill check on the entire team, and without it, he kind of loses to the Excadrill set that I'm running. I do need chip on things, but he does kind of lose to the Excadrill set that I'm running. But, that's all sort of up in the air. So let's start on what I'm bringing now then. I'm bringing Alolan Persian, which I don't believe I brought last time. I'm pretty sure I brought, like, I brought, like, Slowking or Pharaoh instead of this last time. I've got Taunt. This is my dedicated lead. Rocks really punish my Zapdos and my Zard. I'm not running Spin on Diggersby, so I'm running Defog on the Zapdos, actually. Again, like I did last time. But I really need to ensure that Rocks and Hazards and whatnot, like, don't go up on my side. Because the Zapdos set is special, and I don't want to be clicking Defog with it. And I really... the Zard can put in a lot of work. And unfortunately, the Mega rules are kind of here, where you have to Mega Evolve first turn. I'm not a fan of that. I really don't like that aspect. But it puts me in a position where I can't take 50-50s against the Seismitoad, where he has to choose to click a Water move or a Ground move. And in fact, taking that 50-50, the Seismitoad should probably always click the Water move, because it's still neutral against Mega. But yeah, I can't like dodge an Earthquake or anything like that, so it's going to be really hard to roost on something like Seismitoad, which would be his initial switch in, if I have to come in on Rocks. I've got Parting Shot support there as well to make it a little bit easier for my Zard to set up, or to make it easier for my Drill to set up, or at least get in things for free. Free momentum on a Dark-type attack. I don't know exactly what would be a great example of this, but there you go. I've got Player Off there to hit the Hydreigon. This is a temporary switch into things like Hydreigon and Greninja, and I can Player Off them both and hit them for decent damage. The Hydra, I don't even think that it'll kill the Hydra because Persian is pretty weak, but it's still decent damage. Against mons like Celesteela, I kind of just Parting Shot out. Basically anything that's slower than me that I'm not going to be able to do damage to, or I don't want their item gone. Like, for an Archeops, for example, I might just click Knockoff and, like, take the Head Smash and kill myself or whatever. It might not even kill me because of Fur Coat after I knock off a Choice Band or something like that, though. It could be a little bit risky knocking off an item on Archeops, but I'd rather deal with lower base power attacks than have it switch up moves. Like, it's kind of iffy for me. But getting rid of something like Seismitoad's Leftovers is super valuable to me, and I don't value health all that much on Persian. I just kind of value the pivoting option that it gives me. So that's what I've got Knockoff there for, and then obviously I talked about Player Off against the Hydra. That's the main purpose of it. If I can pivot on the Selly, I don't know what I would do necessarily, but I'll probably just pivot into Hippo, get up Rocks, and then Whirlwind it the fuck out of there. 352. I'm outspeeding I'm outspeeding Archeops and Espeon with the speed investment. Max HP, a little bit of attack. And that's the idea behind the Persian. I'm not sort of set on all of these, by the way, so if I do live adjust things in the team builder here, that's because I wasn't super comfortable with this build as is, and so if there's things I want to change, then there's things I want to change. But next up is the Passimian here. Running Passimian with Assault Vest. This is the first time Passimian's making its debut this season. I've got U-turn, close combat, and knock off an Iron Head. So Iron Head over Poison Jab, that's kind of what I'm iffy on. I feel like maybe having Poison Jab's a little bit better. Although I'm not sure Whimsicott's necessarily going to be the switch into this every single time. I do feel like the Dusknoir is going to be the switch in, and that's why I have knockoff. It could be quite annoying if the Dusknoir comes. Now, if the Dusknoir doesn't come, there's pretty much nothing that wants to switch into Passimian, if I'm being completely honest. It's an easy way to break through mons like Krogonal. That's why I'm running AV as well, because I just wanted to run 4 attacks. Choice Band is a nice way to power through things, but if he does bring the Dusknoir, I'd rather knock off and then like U-turn out on the switch or things of that nature, just so I don't get burned, because then I can go right into Zard or something like that. Yeah, close combat just decimates a lot of this roster. Adamant Close Combat is powerful enough to get through Spadef Celesteela. So depending on the Celi spread, I should be able to two-shot it. You know, if he's the variant that he was last time, he was trending, I don't actually remember, but he in my mind he would probably trend towards more of a Spadef variant so that he can still sub up on mons like Slowking. I had to rely on Fire Blast, or I should be forced to rely on Fire Blast against the Celi to do that sort of thing. But he also might put himself in a position where he's physically defensive to take on Excadrill a little bit better. I don't know how concerned he's going to be about Excadrill with Celi. Most times, you'd think that Celesteela just walls Excadrill, but not my set. So we'll sort of see about that. Yeah, I'm outspeeding something. I'm outspeeding max speed Celesteela with this speed investment. Adamant with a little bit of HP. I don't take hits all that well because I'm not super duper invested, but I should be able to do some things with it. If he does want to switch in the Mega Manectric, that'd be super weird, but I'll take it. I've got the Defiant. It's released now. And if I'm at +1 and he wants to switch into Manectric, I just kill it, honestly. I just click close combat at that point. There's really no other reason not to when I'm at +1. I will decimate absolutely everything at +1. I am going to change this to Poison Jab, though. Oh, it doesn't get Poison Jab. It only gets Gunk Shot. That's why I had Iron Head. Okay. Okay, I don't want to rely on a move that'll miss against the Whimsicott when Iron Head will just do the job, so that's why. Zapdos. Alright, I'm bringing a Scarf Zapdos, and this is the plan, right? Last time, he baited me in on Zapdos against the Celesteela, and then he clicked Rock Z with Z Stone Edge. The plan is, I can probably still do that, but then I just Scarf Volt Switch out. And there's no way he can do anything about that. And a Tautomai Celesteela, depending on his investment, probably won't actually outspeed. It probably won't actually outspeed a Scarf Zapdos. With my investment, it probably won't outspeed me. So that's kind of the idea, is that I could just Volt Switch out. Excuse me, break a sub, or if he isn't behind a sub, then I should just be able to decimate him with a Thunderbolt. I'm really offensive. I've got Signal Beam there for the Hydreigon. Seismitoad is a pretty decent stop against me, which is quite the issue. So Seismitoad's actually going to be quite a problem, and I'm going to hope to try and break through it with Passimian or weaken it enough that it's still setup fodder for Zard, that it becomes setup fodder for Zard or things of that nature. Because A, I'm not running Roost on Zapdos, so rocks are really going to suck. B, I have to waste a turn clicking Defog because this is my removal option. And I'm not running HP Grass for the Seismitoad, and I'm choiced, so I wouldn't want to lock into HP Grass anyways. So those are kind of the situations where I'm locked into here. Signal Beam is there for the Hydra, and it's a nice way to hit the Mega Manectric as well, I guess. But Thunderbolt's really just going to tear through. Thunderbolt and Volt Switch are going to tear through depending on the Seismitoad spread. If I don't see the Seismitoad, I will be a very happy person. I'm not going to lie, that would be the most beneficial thing to my entire build, is not seeing this stupid ass Seismitoad. I'm outspeeding Hydreigon with this speed investment, so I should outspeed a Scarf Hydra as well. A little bit of bulk on there, and I've still got static just for mons like Infernape that would want to make contact, you know, Celesteela that might want to make contact. It's not really worth my time to run pressure this week because I don't think there's anything I could pressure stall out anyways. Besides maybe Stone Edge, but he'd have to miss like a bunch of them. So Charizard X here. I'm running the exact same spread as week 1. Exact same speed investment, still outspeeding Hydra, so I'll outspeed a Scarf Hydra at +1. Same moveset with Flare Blitz, Dragonclaw, Roost. Same bulk investment, same attack investment. It's all exactly the same as week 1, so I'm not going to talk about this all that much, but it does still pick on the team with the Seismitoad weakened. I'm not really sure what would want to come in on it. Obviously, I had to paralyze the Infernape last time. If it's Scarf Infernape, it's definitely more of a problem this time, but it probably isn't two-shotting me with Earthquake at that point, so it might have to lock into, like, close combat or something. Hippo, this is part of the main strategy this week. I'm running a mixed defensive Hippo. This spread is the default spread, but it takes things remarkably well, so it kind of makes sense why it's the default spread. I can tank Hydra hits with this. I can live 2 Dracos from Scarf Hydra. You know, I can comfortably take Mega Man Electric hits, Grass Knots from Mons like Infernape and Greninja. Although Greninja would probably just want to click Water Move against me. I'm like mono-walled by a lot of his team, but that's what Whirlwind is there for. So the idea is that Celesteela can't break Hippo like pretty much at all. So I've got Whirlwind on there to just like get it out from behind a sub and get it out in general. Rocks are there. They punish his team quite a bit, honestly, especially if I can force him to switch around a lot with parting shot initiative and things of that nature. Slack off to get myself healthy. I'm running lefties rather than the Sand Extender. Where am I going with this? Smooth Rock. There we go. Excuse me. And then I've got Earthquake, which again is mono-walled by half of his team. Selly, Hydra, Archeops, and Krogonal all can switch in on Earthquake pretty freely, and I don't have Toxic for any of those, or a way to hit Celesteela, so that's why we're running Whirlwind instead. Just get those setup mons out of my face. Espeon would be a problem. If it's Combine Espeon, it might be a problem. I would probably have to play around with that by, like, yeah, I don't know, Whirlwinding myself into Excadrill with the Sand up still or something like that. That might be an interesting play, because then I can... Yeah, he would Magic Bounce the Whirlwind back on me, but it's obviously random what he pulls out, so I don't know. Yeah, Drill. Alright, Drill's the last mon on the team, earning Rock Z with Iron Head, Swords Dance, Earthquake, Rock Slide. +2 Z Rock Slide is a kill on Celesteela. Doesn't matter the spread. Drill doesn't actually get Stone Edge. As you can see, it doesn't get Stone Edge, so Rock Slide's the best rock coverage I have for something like a Celesteela, which is actually really fucking annoying. So we'll see about that. I'm not going to post this in aDrive's server, by the way, which is why I'm swearing. Otherwise, I would be a little bit more cautious about this. But, yeah. You'll notice I have 0 speed investment on my Excadrill. I'm not as concerned about Scarfers, and I think Mons like Greninja and Infernape would have priority to revenge kill me anyways. Especially with the Sand threat now. He's got to have something going on there to revenge kill Drill. So instead, I'm invested in bulk, and so I can afford to be max HP, max attack, adamant, which is pretty crazy. I don't get a Spadef boost in Sand. My Sand Core actually doesn't do anything besides just giving me a speed boost or a damage boost, I guess. And with Sand Force, I would definitely KO the Selly, but I still want the speed control. So, yeah. This speed investment actually outspeeds the entire team. I can outspeed absolutely everything in Sand. It's irrelevant to me about Scarfers. I don't really care that much about Scarfers because I don't think the Scarfers have the power output to kill a max HP Drill. So I'm just invested to outspeed everything. And this plan might entirely backfire. That's perfectly fine with me. If I'm being honest, my goal was just to make playoffs this season because I didn't make playoffs last season. So I'm taking this a little bit more lax. We're playing this game pretty early because Zach has surgery the week that we should be playing this. So we're playing this during the bye week. So if you see this go up a week earlier, then that's why. Other notes, I'll talk about the Pokemon that I'm not bringing in a second here. Just talking about other notes to do with this match. Winner of this advances to play the winner of Shuckle King and Aaron, which is another rematch for either of us because it's obviously divisional matches. You know, if Zach does win, then, you know, all the best to him. I'm 2-0 against Zach. I'm feeling reasonably comfortable about my chances of beating him, but he's brought some pretty whack stuff. He brought, like, Scarf, Bone Rush, Mandibuzz against me in our last match. So I'm not sure what to expect here, and if I lose, then I'll take it like a champ, and we'll move on from there. I'm not going to live comment the match. I'm going to post comment. Other things off the top of my head just don't exist. I'm recording this like half an hour before we play. I built this team like 2 days ago, and I didn't really feel comfortable with it. I didn't really feel comfortable making adjustments to it. Some sets that I wanted to bring that I didn't bring, I guess, for example, I was going to bring a Switcheroo Toxic Orb Persian. Turns out that doesn't work against steel types anyways, and I didn't really think the Celesteela was going to be the thing to switch into Persian every single time. I'm still not confident that Celesteela is the thing that's going to switch into Persian at all. I was toying around with a Floatstone Switcheroo set, which would have the damage of Heavy Slam, but he didn't even bring Heavy Slam against me last time, so there also didn't really feel like a reason for me to run that. That would have actually been a really cool one, because I think having the weight of Celesteela would have been pretty nifty to sort of like nuke the damage on Heavy Slam. It doesn't nuke it that much because Celesteela is still like the second heaviest Pokemon in the game behind like Primal Groudon, or it's the heaviest Pokemon ahead of Primal Groudon. I can't remember. So it's pretty much always rocking with base 120 power Heavy Slam. But you know, that was kind of some fun, cool tech options. I toyed around with Scarf Passimian and Banded Passimian. I didn't really like either of them, and in the end, I ended up going with this. Zapdos, I'm still not comfortable if this is the right Zapdos set or not, because I look at the team, and besides Celesteela, there's not a lot that wants to take on my my Curse Agility Zapdos. I brought it as a meme against Aaron, but I see the potential for it as a real set in this matchup. It's got a alright time dealing with things. The problem I ended up with when I was building around it is that Archeops still two-shots me with Banded Head Smash until I'm at +2. And then it's a roll to two-shot me. And so if I'm at +2 curses, that also means I have to have an agility up at the same time. So it required 4 turns, 4 turns of setup, excuse me, for me to be able to not be two-shot by Archeops. And that was if I was fully physically defensive Zapdos. So that's not the ideal set for a Curse Zapdos. You'd rather be Spadef because you're boosting your defense. And so I didn't want to waste 4 turns of setting up just to be two-shot by Archeops anyways. And so I went with the Scarf set. But if Archeops doesn't show up, I'm definitely going to regret not bringing the Curse Zapdos, because I do think that it has a good matchup here. It kind of depends on if the Whimsicott's going to be an Encore variant or not. I do think it might be an Encore variant, especially if it's something to deal with Mega Charizard X. I believe he brought Encore last time. I can't remember, though. I know he brought the Tailwind. I don't remember what else he brought besides that, though. Other options. I mean, these last 3 Mons, I was kind of dead set on what they were going to be. Other things that were on the team at some point was nothing else that I own, but I did put Keldeo on the team and then realized, thank God I realized that I dropped Keldeo. I was like searching for Keldeo on my prep deck. I'm like, why can't I not mark this off as green? Oh, I dropped it for Excadrill. Because yeah, I was going to bring the same specs Keldeo set that I did last time. It kind of bodies a lot of this team. You know, the spread that I brought last time, I mean, I could have just clicked Secret Sword against absolutely everything and bodied them. I brought the Water Stab or whatever. Once I found out the Seismitoad wasn't Water Absorb, I could just spam Water moves. So I was bringing specs, and then I changed it to Mystic Water to boost the Water type moves, and then I realized that Keldeo was not on the roster. So, okay, what I'm not bringing, Ferrothorn. I think he's going to prep a little bit harder for Ferrothorn this time. He didn't really have the best answers to it last time, and I was able to bring the Occaberry spread and Thunderwave some important members of the team, those being the Archeops and the Infernape. And I got to knock off something, I think. I don't remember. Slowking, I brought an Assault Vest Slowking last time. I think he's going to predict the Assault Vest Slowking this time and prep around Assault Vest Slowking, which is why I'm not bringing it. I want him to over-prep for things that I brought last time. Nidoking didn't come either time. I don't think Nidoking's got a super great matchup here. If it would come, it's probably a Scarf variant, and I don't like a Scarf variant against a Celesteela team because it forces me to lock myself into an electric move, which I don't like, or a fire move, which Seismitoad covers perfectly. Diancie, it's another mon that loses to Celesteela, which is like the biggest problem for my team, although it's a great way to stop mons like Hydra, decent way to stop mons like Infernape. Opted out of Diancie. Abomasnow doesn't really have a great matchup. It's got an alright one. It breaks mons like Seismitoad pretty easily for the Charizard, but I didn't want conflicting weathers. And then Golisopod is actually pretty damn good here. Alright, so this is the thing, right? I've sort of been toying with the idea of changing out Passimian for Golisopod and making an AV Golisopod set instead. The problem that I'm finding is that I don't want to actually emergency exit out. I want Gliscod in against the special threats. First impression is going to one-shot Hydra, Greninja, and Espeon. And it should one-shot the Crogonal as well, and then I would have a set with Aqua Jet for the Infernape and the Archeops, as well as like Liquidation and then some sort of filler move. I'm not entirely sure what it would be. Potentially Leech Life against something like the Seismitoad. I'm not entirely sure, but that AV Gliscod, I'm still sort of playing in my mind if it'll be a thing. So if you see Gliscod in the match and not Passimian, that's why. But Passimian can still tank hits from ones like Hydra a little bit better. It's just the revenge killing potential of Gliscod is completely there. I would run like a set that outspeeds like no speed Steela or something like that, or like barely invested Steela, and potentially be able to like liquidation through the Celesteela, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So anyways, keep an eye out if I do bring Gliscod, because it was probably the 7th pick that I would have had for this roster. Again, I don't really like prepping around 12 Mons and with 12 Mons that I'm forced into. I'm fine with ranges in points leagues where it's like, oh yeah, draft 9 to 12 or 10 to 12 Mons, then that's whatever. Because in general, that means that the team is going to have 3 Pokemon that aren't threats, or two to 3 Pokemon that aren't threats on the 12-mon roster. Generally, you'd overload on the first 9 or the first 10 or whatever, and then your last 2, if you're filling out an entire roster, are going to be like meme picks or like low cost point mons. So that's sort of where I'm at with that. In 12-mon tiered, it's a bigger issue because there's enough value in tier 5 that I wouldn't call something like Victory Bell a non-threat. You know, I have to prep for the Victory Bell. I have to prep for the Dustoir. It's a struggle. So anyways, that's going to be for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully we pick up the W here against Zach. This has been a very long team builder. I'll catch you guys for the match.